Okay. Well, it is 2 o'clock, almost on the dot. I want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. We've got a pretty special webinar to start off our 2022 webinar series. We've got Scott Lorkey and Ryan Finnegan from Alpha Broder. They're going to present to you on the new Vineyard Vines collection, and we'll have plenty of time to answer any questions that anybody has. If you want to use the chat box, Ryan and I will be monitoring and can narrate for Scott while he's presenting. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of time at the end for a Q&A. So with that, I will turn it over to Scott and you can take it away.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Melissa. And thank you all for joining. For those of you that I've not the privilege of meeting yet, my name is Scott Lurkey. I am the new Director of Strategic Accounts here at AB Prime representing AIA. I am not new to the company. I've been with Alpha Broder Prime now for 5 years. I spent the first 5 years of my career as an outside sales rep in the state of Ohio. And prior to that, I spent 7 years on the distributor side. So this is all I've ever known, all I've ever done. And if I have not met you, I'm looking forward to meeting you and working with you going forward. So today, as Melissa mentioned, we've got a pretty exciting presentation about our new retail partner, Vineyard Vines. We are scheduled for an hour and will not need the hour. So before we get started on Vineyard Vines, there's a couple things, a couple housekeeping notes that I'd like to share with you guys. I think in theory tie into our presentation. So I want to start by saying thank you. 2021 was a year. It was definitely a challenging year for all of us for a lot of reasons. And despite that, guys, we saw 86% year-over-year growth in the retail category. Not only that, but AIA grew 39% in the retail category from 2019. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we use 2019 as a benchmark, obviously pre-COVID, to track our growth and to track our sales. So the fact that you saw retail growth, not just last year, but also from 2019 is astounding. It's great. It's a really impressive number from a benchmark perspective. And to really no surprise, retail has done very, very well in our industry over the last 10 years. We have seen an incredible insurgence of retail partners in retail options in this industry over the last decade for a lot of reasons. One, of course, it's got great brand affinity. People like the high perceived value of a retail brand, and we all like it because it's higher price points and hopefully more margin, more profitability, and in turn, more money for you. So we're very excited to have Vineyard Vines as a partner, and we expect to continue to grow significantly in this space. To start the year, January was pretty soft. Omicron threw a wrench in, I think, a lot of our plans. We can all look at that from PPAI. But despite that, AIA is up 99% year to date with Alpha Broder. We are off to an excellent start with you. So thank you so much for the partnership there. We continue to see growth in the retail category, 44% growth in the retail category from the beginning of this year. So we are heading in an incredible direction. And a lot of the reason why we were experiencing the growth that we were having is inventory, which is a great segue into my next point. As I'm sure you are all starting to slowly see, inventory is improving. From a perspective, we have significantly more inventory now than we did at this time last year. We're talking millions of dollars of inventory that we did not have access to at this time last year. So we are definitely heading in the right direction. We are receiving inventory replenishments on a daily basis in every category. Now, the focus is still going to remain replenishing best-selling styles with our best-selling colors. That will be that way for quite some time until we get the supply chain more solidified. But every brand, we are seeing restocks across the board. And hopefully you guys are all experiencing some relief in that as well. We're not out of it yet. I'm not trying to pretend that we are. We're heading in the right direction, but pending another global catastrophe, by the end of this year, I'm not even going to say cautiously optimistically, we're going to be back to normal by the end of this year from a supply chain perspective. So the worst is behind us, pending another catastrophe that we can't anticipate. And you'll probably even start to see some more semblances of normalcy halfway through this year. So thank you for sticking with us. We still have the tools readily available for you online for downloadable spreadsheets of high stock product. Our website has filter functions for high stock product. You're going to have the tools readily available for you. But again, you're going to start seeing every week better improvement on retail in every category and in every brand. Staffing. I know we had some challenges last year in staffing in really every department. That too is improving significantly. Almost all, if not all, government subsidies have ended. We're starting to see people entering back into the workforce, and that includes customer service, decoration, our pickers and our distribution centers, our production team across the board. We are starting to finally get back to some semblances of normalcy. Again, we're not quite there yet altogether, but making tremendous strides. We are in a significantly better position from a staffing perspective than where we were even 3 months ago. I am going to ask for your continued patience as we work through this challenge. You know, as you guys can probably imagine, we have the largest new hire staff or teams that we've ever had in this company's history. So naturally, when you have a team of that size that's onboarding right now, you're naturally going to see some what we would probably consider elementary errors, right? Some silly things that you would normally say, what's going on here? So as we work through that, you know, I appreciate your patience. We're on a tremendous learning curve, but again, heading in the right direction and finally starting to see some semblances of normalcy there. So again, very much appreciate your patience, very much appreciate your partnership. I hope you guys are starting to feel some of the resolve that we are feeling. I can tell you personally that I have not gotten a report all of 2022 in regards to carried over lines. And what that means is product that was supposed to ship same day that didn't, haven't gotten a report once this year. So staffing is improving. Again, thank you for your patience. And ideally, you are all feeling that as well, too. So that was some of the housekeeping stuff I wanted to say. What I'm really getting at, again, is thank you. We very much appreciate the partnership. And based on our inventory positioning, we should have a record year with you. So again, very much appreciate your support in your business. So let's go ahead and get this screen shared. A window. Can everybody see my screen? All right. Give me 1 second here before we get started. All right. So Vineyard Vines. As I mentioned, Vineyard Vines is a new retail partner of ours. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, retail is explosive. So great new partner of ours. Would not be surprised if you continue to see more new retail partners coming into our space. But in the 5 years that I have been here, we've had multiple retail partners join us. This is probably the most exciting of them all. And we've got some really great new partners that we've had over the last 5 years. But if you're not familiar with Vineyard Vines, the objective of this presentation is to give you a little bit of background of who they are, their brand identity, the product assortment, who would be a good target for Vineyard Vines, the do's and don'ts, and then answering any questions you may have along with the marketing tools that we have to support it. So what is Vineyard Vines? So, Vineyard Vines was started by two brothers. Their names are Shep and Ian Murray. They grew up in Connecticut, and they and their family spent a lot of time in Martha's Vineyard in the summers. Both of them went into a marketing field. Neither one of them really liked their jobs. And that's when they started Vineyard Vines in the early 2000s. Originally, Vineyard Vines was neckties. And they were selling neckties that were Martha's Vineyard themed neckties. That included street signs, sailboats, martinis, cigars, fun ties, obviously. The whole concept was to bring the good life to work and that really every day should feel this good. They opened up their very first retail store in Martha's Vineyard in 2005. So as you guys can imagine, it's a pretty young brand. And in that time frame, they're now a $500 million lifestyle brand. They have 125 retail outlets. They have multiple retail partnerships with Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, DXL, Amazon, etc., as well as partnerships with golf clubs, specialty shops, nationwide, and then also licenses with Major League Baseball, NFL, NCAA, and the NHL. Now, from a quality and a color perspective, you've probably seen some of this emulated in our industry with other private brands, right? Like everybody knows for the most part who Vineyard Vines is, especially in the East Coast. So you've probably seen a lot of those pastel styles with comfort wash or even comfort colors, very much on trend with what we're seeing in retail, which of course is Vineyard Vines. So we're really excited to have them as a retail partner. So welcome. That's their thing. I'm going to apologize for the pun, but welcome aboard to the Vineyard Vines collection. I will say before we get started, this is an exclusive brand. Just like Under Armour when it first came out, that was exclusive. So is this brand. AIA is one of our few qualified partners that have access to Vineyard Vines. So truly, welcome aboard. This is the entire collection of the Vineyard Vines catalog. Now, a couple things I want to call out from what you see on this screen. Number one, this is not a licensed partner. What I mean by that is we are not licensed to produce and manufacture Vineyard Vines products. This is product made directly from Vineyard Vines retail supply chain. So your end user can expect the same quality, touch, feel, comfort, sizing of what they see in retail. There is no difference. Some of our competitors in this space have license deals where they manufacture the goods themselves. This is not the case. It is directly from Vineyard Vines. They can expect the same quality that you would see from retail. This is expensive product. Entry-level price point for polos, MSRP, is around $90. It's expensive. It's not going to be for everybody, but the product speaks for itself. It's got high perceived value in the retail space. The quality certainly speaks for itself as well, too. We expect smaller orders for this kind of an opportunity. We're expecting orders in the 12 to 50 range. So if you see inventory positioning online that looks relatively low to what you would expect from a new launch, that is intentional. Reason being is we're just not expecting large orders. Now, it's a new brand. We very well could be wrong here. We could have very large orders. Time will tell, but fortunately, we do have inventory replenishments coming in the near future. What you see on this screen is their best sellers in retail. They do very well in the layered section or the layered portion of the apparel space, as you can see with the quarter zips as well as the vests. Some of their fleece line product is very popular in retail as well, which we will carry, as well as some polos, bagwear, and headwear. So you'll also notice too, by taking a look at the models on this image, a lot of left chest placement for Vineyard Vines. If you guys remember when Under Armour first came out into the space too, it was very similar. A lot of left chest placement for Under Armour as well too. That could change. Maybe it won't. Hard to say. But this is, again, authentic Vineyard Vines. They will learn in time based on feedback that you provide us, and then we will in turn provide them. So you're going to have a lot of right chest logos, a lot of back end prints, nape of neck, sleeve end prints, etc. But again, as I mentioned, guys, the pastel colors you would expect to see from them. Exceptionally high perceived value. If you had a chance to see it at PPAI when we had it in a private room, you'll know how nice this product truly is. We expect to do exceptionally well to start the year with this product. It is live now. If you have signed your Vineyard Vines contract, which we can discuss at the end of this presentation, you should be able to see it online. If you don't see it online when you log in, either we have not received your contract or it should be live by the end of this week as we are slowly rolling this out. It has been live for just a week at this point, so you've not missed out much. But yeah, if you do not see it live, that's a conversation we can have afterwards as well too. All right, so here's the less fun portion of the presentation, but very important. This will give you guys an idea of the do's and don'ts of Vineyard Vines. So priority number one, distributor must advertise Vineyard Vines at MSRP. What does that mean? You are welcome to advertise Vineyard Vines on your websites, on social media, on online stores. That's not an issue. The one requirement is it must be advertised at MSRP pricing. If you're wondering, it is priced on a C, as most retailers are priced on a C as well, but it has to be advertised as MSRP. What you sell it for after the customer is inquired is entirely up to you, but if it's being advertised, it has to be MSRP. You cannot use phrases such as cheap, excess, or liquidation in connection with Vineyard Vines. That, of course, is to not diminish the value of the brand, so you can't use any language or verbiage tied to Vineyard Vines. Vineyard Vines may not be sold in retail stores, discount retail stores, warehouse clubs, off-price retailers, internet retailers like Amazon or eBay, or any entities intending to resell the product into these channels. So what does that mean? To make it simple, your end user should be the final transaction. In other words, if you're selling to a gym and they're using it as staff polos, no issue. Where it becomes an issue is they take that polo, mark it up again, and sell it in their retail channel. The intention is the end user is supposed to be the final transaction. Vineyard Vines product may not be sold to any other promotional product distributors, ASI companies, or other unauthorized entities. As I mentioned before, this brand is exclusive. You are one of few partners that have access to this brand. This is a very friendly industry. There's a lot of friendly competition. Assume that your competition does not have the brand. You cannot order the brand on behalf of another distributor. That's one of the rules. It'd be a direct breach of contract. Now, if you're familiar with the do's and don'ts when it comes to branding from Under Armour, you should have no problem with this next bullet point because it's very similar. Distributors cannot resell Vineyard Vine product to companies involved in alcohol, firearms and ammunition, tobacco, cannabis, pornography, sex industries, organizations including sexual orientation or sexual identification, political parties, or organizations, or any organization representing an extremist group. So basically what they're saying there, guys, is no vices. They don't want to be tied to any political party or political affiliation. They want to remain neutral in those facets. And then lastly, you cannot sell to any other existing licenses from Major League Baseball, NFL, or other professional collegiate sports properties. So stay away from college, stay away from sports. Again, if you're familiar with the Under Armour rules and regulations and you've adapted and sold appropriately, you should have no issue here as well too. We will be the sole decorator to start off. It's full transparency. It's the reason we won the brand. We can completely police the brand. They're very, very serious about how their brand is used. And that was one of the major selling points of us winning the brand. So we will be, to start, the only decorator of Vineyard Vine product. When you submit an order, you must include the logo, who the end user is, and the purpose of how the Vineyard Vines brand will be used. So it's as simple as, here's the logo. It's a law firm. They're using it for a golf outing. Again, if you guys work through the Under Armour process, I know it was a little clunky at first, but you should be familiar with the standard operating procedure. You should have no issues. Also important to remember, Vineyard Vines product must be distributed in the United States. No product can be shipped outside of the United States. So if you have a Canadian presence, if you are Canadian and you're on this call, we are currently not offering Vineyard Vines in Canada, and we can only ship to the United States. We cannot ship outside of the United States. I had a question on the last call that I did about this in regards to, well, define college. Like, what does that mean? Does that include departments? Does that include staff for athletic programs, etc.? Your best bet here, guys, is to ask for permission. There is no asking for a permit for forgiveness. Vineyard Vines has to approve all logos, all placements, all methods of use. So they will decline it. And I don't want to put you guys in a position where you sell the brand, you got an order in place, and you have to go back and say, we can't use the brand. So if you're on the fence about that, if you're not sure, you're better off just reaching out to myself or Ryan. We are happy to get that information back to you. Again, this is one of those circumstances you do not want to ask for forgiveness because there is none. Definitely want to ask for permission for clarification's sake. All right, so more rules on this as well too. There are no minimum quantities. You can order quantities of one. We are the sole decorator, and we get really competitive economically at 12 units. So keep that in mind as well too. We will do quantities below 12 units, but we're most economical at 12. So keep that in mind. There are all no blank orders, has to be decorated. All orders other than sample requests must be decorated by us. There are some exceptions to the rule on samples, which we'll cover now. All retail brands, including Vineyard Vines, has a limit of 50 styles per year, and we're going to have 2 pieces per style, per size, per color. That's to eliminate it being substituted as an order. We do charge regular freight for that. There are no discounts for Vineyard Vines when it comes to samples. And we will make exceptions for size runs on larger orders. So if you've got a significant order, the customer needs to have sizes to try on, that will come to either myself or Ryan. I can get that approved for you. It will be treated on a case-by-case basis. Again, you cannot order online. It has to be ordered by PO. So POs with product details and intended use of the product and artwork must be sent to decorationorders@alphabroder.com. All inquiries involving Vineyard Vines has to be sent through decorationorders@alphabroder.com, including blank samples. I've already had this question come up, so I added it to the presentation. Alphabroder cannot pull from Vineyard Vines retail assortment. If it's not on our website, we can't get it. We don't have it. There are really no exceptions to that rule. It's a very disruptive to pull from their retail inventory loads. And the reason being is they just buy differently for retail than they do for our industry. They don't stock the inventory replenishments like we do in our industry. So we avoid it. It becomes very messy is really the best way to put it. So we do not pull from the retail assortment. All right, so where to find the product? Again, just like Under Armour, you've got to be logged in to see Vineyard Vines. It is exclusive, so it will not show up unless you are logged in. So make sure you log in and see, so you can see Vineyard Vines. Again, online ordering will not be available. You must purchase by PO, but you will be able to at least see the price points and readily available inventory. High-res images are also easily downloadable on the product page. Directly below the model, you're going to see a small icon that says download images. Very easy to download either a high-res image or a low-res image for the product. Lifestyle images are available as well as the Vineyard Vines logo. For marketing tools for you, we've got a couple of tools, including an e-catalog that you see here. This is accessible online as well. We did do a small run of printed catalogs. I'm almost positive the inventory has been completely depleted as already, to no surprise. But this e-catalog is readily available now at the link provided. And I'll send this link to Melissa as well, so you guys have that readily available. For those that want to search for the product online, this is the first time we've done something like it. And I got to tell you, it is the most impressive and user-friendly website we've made for a retail brand since I've been here. vvbrandedapparel.com is the end user-friendly Vineyard Vines website. Excellent lifestyle images, category separation, product pages that are really clean, ready for your end user with no ties back to us. I've already got asked, can we make this dual branded with Vineyard Vines and AIA? The answer to that is no. They are only providing a singular end user website for Vineyard Vines. Reason being, they want to give the idea that there's a partnership between the two brands. So there are no customizations on these websites. But what an incredible tool. I think you'll be really proud to show this to your customers. And is a great tool for them to search for the product and see all the information that they need. This is live now and ready for you. So that concludes the presentation for Vineyard Vines. Does anybody have any questions for Ryan and I that I could answer? Now, there's no way I did this perfect.
You were that good.
Yeah. I will tell you, give you guys some advice. You will be surprised. Thank you, Mindy. You will be surprised. I would start reaching out to your higher profile customers, letting them know that you have the brand. I've gotten feedback, and just this week alone, from customers that are reaching out to their end users, law firms, engineering firms, customers that have high appetites for a higher price product, right? They're getting 50 unit orders like that. No questions asked. They're sending the website, they're sending the catalog, and they're placing orders quickly. So there is a demand for this, and they're ranging between 12 and 50 units. And these are big orders, right? A 50 unit order for Vineyard Vines is a $5,000-$6,000 order. And it is priced on a C for those that ask. So don't hesitate to reach out. Inventory is live and more is coming. Was there another question I saw?
Scott, do we have Vineyard Vines on EAIA yet, or is that going to have to come later like we did with Under Armour?
So I think you're referring to like the ASI feed, right?
Yeah, but it's exclusive to our owners.
Yeah, so we're working on that. So that's a good question. So Melissa was asking if that's going to feed directly to AIA. We have to set up a separate feed for ASI because of the fact that it's exclusive, and that's a work in progress. Good question, Melissa.
That's what I thought. It took a while for us to get Under Armour under its own category.
Yes. Andrea, first off, I hope you're doing well, my friend. And it is on a C. Yes. Andrea asked if, I'm sorry, you said sample orders. My apologies. The brand is priced on a C, correct. And then you do pay full price net for the sample. And looks like the brand already sent the digital catalog. And the impression is that the brand is a bit preppy. That is fair. But basically, John, anyone that's selling in the same category as Peter Millar or selling in even the same category as Patagonia, those that have that kind of appetite for that higher end, higher expense price points, they are going to fall into the same category that was buying from Peter Millar. But yeah, I think your assumptions, John, are probably accurate. John, likely you won't have the same success in Washington State that others in Connecticut and New York. They're going to destroy this brand. They're going to have a lot of success with this brand because it's so popular in the East Coast. We see it doing really well in the South and doing really well in the East Coast. And John, if you get your first order, you got to let me know because I want to know how it's doing on the West Coast too.
And also, too, I mean, it's treated as, yes, a preppy brand, But I mean, we can't just assume Under Armour and even, Nike and Puma are just going to be associated with sports. So I think right now it's the fact that it's a name brand kind of trumps anything else with that.
But yeah, a very fair point, a very fair question. So who else? What else we got?
Andrea was asking, where's the decoration being done?
Good question. That'll be done out of Kansas City only. And you know what I forgot, and I apologize to you guys. It is embroidery only. We are currently not going to be offering any screen printing or heat transfer on Vineyard Vines. It'll be embroidery only to start. That could change, but to start, it will be embroidery only. Tanya had a question about, do the samples need to be decorated? They do not, but they are more than likely going to ask you who it's for and how it will be used. You bet, Tanya. Any other questions? Well, guys, again, thank you so much for your time. And I do want to mention, too, I'm assuming if you're on this call, that means you have interest in the brand. If you have not signed your contract, you will not have access to the brand. So if you're asking, I don't know what you're talking about, either it's getting sent to someone else within your company or it's in your spam file. Please check your spam file if you have not signed the contract. If you log on and you don't see Vineyard Vines, that means we don't have your contract. Go ahead, Scott.
The email that you would have got with the contract is specifically from contracts@mail.alphabroder.com. So could likely go to your spam file.
And those were sent out a couple weeks ago.
And it's been multiple reminders.
Multiple times, yeah.
Yep. And I'll tell you guys, they're very strict about this. There will not be a situation where it says, hey, I've got an order. Can you hold my stock until I get this thing signed and activated? The answer to that will be no. They're very, very strict about their policy. We've been circulating these contracts now for almost a month and a half. So make sure you get that contract signed. Again, if you can see Vineyard Vines when you're logged in, you're good. If you can't see it, check your spam. And if you don't see it there, let Ryan or I know. We do have a list of those that are still not signed. I will say AIA as an organization has done a very good job. We've got very few that have not. And if you don't want it, that's fine. Let us know. We'll stop sending you emails, but just let us know you don't want the brand. That's not an issue. If you're specifically alcohol and you don't want to mess with it, that's not a problem. Just let us know.
Awesome. I think that's probably it. If anybody has any questions, you can always email or call Scott or Ryan, and they'll be more than happy to help. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Guys, have a great week again. Thank you for an excellent 21. We're looking forward to an even better 22.
Thank you.
Thank you again.